Oh, this pin that I'm using is called a French pin. It doesn't have extra handles. It feels, I've had this for years, has a lovely, lovely feel. It's made out of maple, easy to clean, and is ideal for this kind of work. Alright, now we're starting to come through, and these are actually starting to look very much like the cookies that I remember. Okay, we should be about 6. Ah, good, well, I'm just about there. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do is to divide this into thirds so that each is approximately 6 by 6. And I'm going to transfer it over to the baking sheet. Alright, but in order to do that, I need to get something to cut it with, so I will be back in a minute when I get my supplies. Okay, I'm using what is a plastic version of something that's called a bench scraper or bench knife, which is ideal for cleaning up countertops, transferring things. And because I'm using the silicone mat here, I'm not using my metal one, which could damage it. I'm using a plastic one. And let's see, we should measure approximately 6 inches. If it's a little shy, it's no big deal. And I'm going to cut the cookie dough through and transfer this onto the baking sheet. Notice that the pieces we're using are small enough so you can transfer them easily. Alright, and I have 3. And yes, they're not the same size, but on the other hand, I'm not about to go work for Sunshine either, so this should do. Alright, now I'm going to score the cookies. Right, you have to decide what size cookies you want. I prefer to make them on the smaller side because then you can have more of them. So let me get what I'm going to try to score them with. I can use either a pizza wheel or I can use a pastry wheel. This is the kind of thing you see sometimes when you make cookies and want to get a pretty edge on it, or pie crust. And I'm going to score it. Now that means I'm going to mark it, but I'm not going to cut it through. I'm going to see if I score it just right. These should break apart once they're baked, but I want them to bake together so that I don't get hard, crusty edges between them. So I'm just sort of going through it until I'm almost through. This is the first half of the dough. What I'm going to do now is to take the other ball of dough and do exactly the same thing. Alright, now we want to glaze these before they go into the oven. So let me go get the leftover of the beaten egg that we used earlier. Alright, there's plenty of egg here. Just brush it on straight. You can dilute it with a little milk or water if it looks like you may not have enough, but I think this should work out just fine. I'm using a silicone brush. I like them because they seem to clean up better than the regular bristle brushes. Seems to be a little more sanitary. As a plus, they also can be used with high heat, so they're great when you're basting for barbecuing or any other application where the heat can be an issue. You don't want bits of melted bristle on your food. Well, it looks like we're going to just about make it. This will give them a very nice golden color. Now these are ready to go into the oven where they'll bake for between 15 and 20 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown. And since I'm using 2 shelves, halfway through I'm going to reverse them so they cook evenly. Right, so get these ready. We don't want to leave the oven door open too long, so I will get these in here. Set my oven timer to 10 minutes. And I'll check it after 10 minutes and I will reverse them. And then when they're nice and golden looking, then we'll take them out and see how we did. All right, our cookies are about ready to come out of the oven now. They're nice and golden. Timer. Okay. They're nice and golden, and you can see all of the little scorings are still there. What I'm going to do is to transfer it over carefully, because it's hot, to a cooling rack so they won't get soggy on the underside. And I'm going to just rescore the places that closed up so that later on when we want to divide them into pieces, we should be able to just break them apart nicely and get nice chewy edges on them. Okay, they're too hot to taste now. Resist the temptation. That hot fruit can really burn your mouth. But I think you'll find, if you remember the original ones from Sunshine, that these may not look quite as polished, but you'll find that they're every bit as good and probably a lot better for you. Enjoy them, make lots of them. They're healthful, they're good for kids, they don't crumble in cars. And best of all, the only way you can get them is by making them yourselves at home, so you'll have something very special that other people can't simply go out and buy. I hope you've enjoyed making them. Thanks for watching the video.